Jordan's time, and we'll start our session now. Good evening, everyone. Please allow me, Nagam Amin, to welcome you all to the fourth annual English Language Conference 2026, jointly organized by the Queen Rania Teacher Academy and Georgia State University. This year's conference theme, Inclusive English Teaching in Changing World, reflects our shared commitment to creating learning environments where every student feels seen, valued, and empowered to succeed. Over the course of this conference, educators, researchers, and practitioners from around the world are coming together to exchange ideas, share experiences, and explore innovative approaches to English language teaching in today's rapidly evolving educational landscape. At QRTA, the mission has always centered on empowering educators and improving the quality of teaching and learning throughout professional development, collaboration, and innovation. Together with GSU, this partnership continues to build the bridges between global expertise and local educational impact, making this conference an important platform for meaningful dialogue and professional growth. Before we begin, I would like to encourage everyone to actively participate in today's session. As you listen to the presentation, please feel free to prepare your questions and share them in the chat box throughout the session. We will have a Q&A segment at the end where the speaker will address as many of your questions and comments as possible. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker,
رجعني
Doha
مباشرة على
Kabalan,
الجدول.
the founder of Teachers First, which is based in Beirut, Lebanon. Ms. Doha is an international education specialist with over 10 years of experience in PYP education, recognized for her work in advancing inquiry-based and student-centered learning. She holds a master's degree in education, advanced teaching, and has served as an IB PYB coordinator, leading curriculum development and whole school improvement. Ms. Doha is currently working as an education consultant. She partners with the schools and teachers to implement progressive, inquiry-driven approach that empower both educators and learners. Today, Ms. Doha Kabalan will be speaking with us about project-based learning, differentiation by design. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ms. Doha. Ms. Doha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nagam. Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Saturday. I hope we will have an inspiring session together. Today, I'm going to try to walk you through a framework of how project-based learning is differentiation allows for differentiation by design. As Nagam said, you can find me on teachers.first on Instagram, where I share experiences. I help schools and educators grow professionally through working with schools and through this online content. Okay, so by the end of this session, we're going to be able to describe how project-based learning structures and how these structures enable differentiation by default or by design. We're going to try and apply the standards, the learning standards or the outcomes that you currently work with, irrespective of which curricula you teach within. And we're going to try to create some simple support system or strategies for students at different levels. We're gonna see some tips around that. And definitely all of this being practical to be applied in the classroom. Okay, so first, before we start, I'm going to share a Mentimeter link with you. We're going to brainstorm. I'd like you to tell me what comes to your mind when you think of project-based learning. I believe you will see, like, you can enter one word. One word is enough. What comes to mind when you think of project-based learning? I'm going to share the link in the chat. And then you will tell me and we brainstorm together. So here's the Mentimeter. Try to put it in the cloud, and then I'm going to share your answers on the screen, not in the chat, please. Did it open? Did it work? Okay. We're trying to see some answers. Deliverables, collaboration, multiple stages, search, learning through projects, teamwork. Nice, brilliant. Creativity, experience. I love that. Student-based learning, STEAM, mixed abilities, integration of subjects, communicative, cooperation, mixed abilities, role play, hands-on activity, interactive. I love that. I love this cloud. Using everyday life experience, true. Thinking outside the box, learning through projects. Okay, learning by doing. Brilliant. All of your answers. Inquiry, yes. Teams, multiple stages, practice, experience. I love that. Nice. Clients or experts. Okay. Critical thinking, diversity, true. All right. Brilliant, brilliant answers. Projects, practice. Okay. Based on real life experience, using everyday life. Okay, I believe we've read most. So this is exactly what I want us to think about when we say project-based learning. Project-based learning is not a project, and now we will see the difference. Project-based learning, as defined by PBL Works, by Buck Institute, is a teaching approach through which students learn through engaging in solving a real-world problem, a real-life problem, and being creative in solving that, and bringing to the surface all of these 21st century skills of thinking, creativity, teamwork, collaboration, and all of those you mentioned. So this is very important, where we differentiate between a project and the project-based learning. So this is the basis before going into any of the application. We need to understand as teachers what is the difference. What is the difference? Okay, so now trying to define, after we've defined project-based learning, I want you to look at these. We have four ideas, if you want, or statements. I'd like you to vote in the chat. Which one do you think is a project-based learning? Put the number, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one is project-based learning? Read all, like take a couple of seconds, read all. Which one is a project-based learning? Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 4. I have a mixed question, mixed answers. 4, 2, 2, 3, 2 and 4. 1. Let's see. All of them. 3, 4, 1, 2. 2. I find it hard to choose. It seems something is missing. Or maybe we are yet to develop some understandings in some aspects. Two. Okay, so those who said two, this is a project-based learning, a PBL, while the others are projects. And here is the misconception I'd like us to pay attention to. Let's say I'm working on dinosaurs. Students make a dinosaur craft, they sing a dino song, it's the thematic connection, they read dinosaur books. So here, what kind of problem are they solving? How is it like connected to real life? Where's the connection? Where's the real life relevance? I'm just making these, crafts or activities that are all of the same theme, but this doesn't make it a project-based learning. Remember, what we're trying to keep in mind is that project-based learning is a teaching approach. I don't go for learning and then add a project-based learning. No, I build around it. It's the essence of the learning. It's the learning itself. It's the vehicle through which the students will learn. So out of these four, only number 2 is the project-based learning, and the rest are projects. And these are some of the misconceptions we have and we are stuck at doing in the classroom or applying, thinking this is project-based learning. If you come to think of it, let's say in food terms, I know everybody likes food, so you can think of project-based learning being the main course as it's drawn on the screen, and the project is a dessert or a side dish. Some of the projects we do them at the end of the unit. This means that the learning has already happened. What we're doing is not connected to the standards. It might be fun, it might be interesting, but this is not project-based learning. Some of them we do it on the side of the learning, next to the learning. For example, we're doing a family, and then while we're understanding who are the figures in the family, what are their roles, what the function of the family, we go ahead and do a family tree. That's also a project. It's not a project-based learning. So now we're going to try and focus on the main features that make project-based learning different and how it stands out. According to the PBL, also I'm going, by the way, I have prepared a Padlet full of resources for you to go back to. I'm going to share the link of the Padlet at the end of the session, so stick with me at the end so that you can keep all of this references and all of the ideas we're going to go through. I put resources, I put examples, and we will going to add a reflection on that Padlet. So, as I mentioned, the PBL, they identify the gold standard of a project-based learning. It has to have these features. And if you want, if you're a teacher, applying in the classroom, you can look at this as a checklist for you to create a really authentic or meaningful project-based learning. So first of all, the most important thing which we saw on the top of the slide is the driving question. Like there's a problem, there's something that needs to be solved, something that's meaningful for the children. There's an inquiry about to happen. They would need to find some answers. So the problem, the question, the driving questions, as we say it, which should start the project-based learning is key. And this question also has to have some features. I put for you also examples on how to create and some examples of a driving question. This question has to be open-ended so that it holds many input, many entries from the students. It has to be open-ended. It has to be engaging so that the students feel, oh, I really want to try and answer this question. And it has to be aligned with the learning goals that you are learning about. It has to be to bring in the connection with the standards, with the outcomes that you are going to talk about. So the meaningful question first, then is the project authentic to students' life? Is it applicable? Can they make connection with? Is it relevant? After that, we have to be looking at the student inquiry. Is there a student inquiry going to go on to help them really research, find information? Let's say, and instead of me telling them about the photosynthesis, they can live this experience through a couple of weeks or 3 weeks through a planting experiment, and all the project goes around that. And then this way, their learning will be deeper. So there has to be time for this sustained inquiry. It goes over time. It's not one session. I can't do one project in one session, project-based learning, I mean. Also, do they have voice and choice in the learning? Now the key here is the question. If it's open-ended, it holds many entries. Here, the students can think of different ways to answer this question and sometimes different products. I don't want to say, let's say we're learning about energy. I want everyone today to do, an air-supported car, and each one of you that go do it, and I call this a project-based learning. No, I've done it for them. I'm already picking for them. There is no voice or choice in it. This is something that I'm sure will happen, they already know the result. So here, there's no experiment. It's not worth inquiring into. So here, I give them voice. I give them choice. I let them choose. This also will bring in the different level, the different exposure, the different interest, and the different competence of each of the children. Each of them will think according to all of these variables. And here we're starting to let in differentiation, but definitely by default. Also, project-based learning at the end of the PBL, we should have like a public product so that the students share with a wider community, not only be it restricted in the school community. Do they do connections with NGOs, with outside community? Do they write letters, let's say, to institutions? Do they take action outside the school? So this is one of the features which pushes the PBL and helps it not be just a classroom display. Like, how are we communicating this learning that we have compiled? And definitely, are we developing the skills, the 21st century skills? Are we bringing in all of this critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, teamwork? Because at the end of the day, they will be able to acquire the information or the content, but I'm developing skills for life that will help them and empower them in any unknown content we are teaching towards, with the rapid changes, education is changing fastly, the world is developing, so some jobs are disappearing by the time students graduate. So I'm not preparing them for a set of jobs like we used to do in the past, but what I should at least do is empower these skills so that they can conquer any situation they can come across later. All right, so in a nutshell, if we want to do some comparison so that we erase or we, try to correct these misconceptions about what's a project versus what's a project-based learning, here are some of the features, definitely not everything, but some of the main features that differentiate between the two. Definitely project, it's something they can do at home alone. The teacher takes all of the decisions. The teacher gives them the idea, the product, they are just passive receivers. You have to go and do this task. It could be repeated every year. We do a check of the learning at the end. So all of these features make this a project. But what we are aiming for is a project-based learning, which is how the learning is happening throughout. This is a teaching method. It requires collaboration. So if this is a project I can do at home on my own, this is not project-based learning. They have to inquire together, they have to collaborate, they have to ask questions, they have to, connect with each other. Definitely, as we said, it has to have real-world connection. It has to be open-ended so that the students can have all of this choice in the process, how they want to get there. And here is my role to facilitate. Also shows a choice in the product. They might answer this question or solve the problem in a different way. And one group might do it in one way, another group might do it in another way. They also assume real roles so that, for example, sometimes they are scientists or they are environmentalists or they are detectives. I don't know. So every time they live this role, which also help them engage even more in this inquiry going on. So this has to be meaningful, this has to be relevant, and it also has to be driven by a key question that we just spoke about. Now, in our chat, these are all projects, okay? If you take a look at these three, these are projects. Let's try to brainstorm together. I want you can choose any of the three. I'm giving you some choice and try to improve it from being a project, let's say, to being a project-based learning. You can turn it into a question, let's say, and, link it, try to be a bit open-ended. Let's try this out together. There are no wrong answers. We are brainstorming together. So in the chat, if you are able to turn this into from a project to project-based learning, let's do this together. I picked topics, that are very common, especially in elementary or middle school. Let's say animal research report. How can I change this project into a project-based learning? How can I think bigger? Keeping in mind, I want students to think about animals, their adaptation, if they are rare, they are endangered, all of these topics or ideas that you have students study in grade 2 or grade 3. Let's take a couple of minutes to think. Oops, sorry. And then we can see. Nice, I like this. How can I create safe environment for migratory birds that visit my city during winters? I love this, and I can take it even bigger. Also, animals maybe. How can I help protect endangered animals and teach others about them? Brilliant. I love this. This is very open-ended. It does not limit the students. It does not suggest the product, and it holds many entries. No matter where the student is in his level or in experience or interest, he can still go in and participate and be part of this. How can we convince our community to protect a local threatened species? I love this. You guys are brilliant. I skipped one, I think. Okay, so see, this is how to make it open-ended. When we focus on how can we create awareness campaigns, okay, so you're saying they and present solutions. Yes, we can frame it into a question. Definitely, they can work in groups. What qualities make someone change the world? How to save marine life in your country? Yes, the driving question should be open-ended enough, but not very vague or very big, so that they cannot keep up or cannot really, pursue or inquire into. Okay. Okay, you're answering for the rest. How can I recreate uh, the experience for the alphabet? Okay, all right. Nice. What qualities this other? Which planet can we live in and why? Nice, I love this. See, also this takes us for the planet so that they are inquiring, and then definitely they will need to research what's inhabitable, why, what makes it different. They sort the data. I love this. You guys are brilliant. How can we teach others about important historical figures in a creative and engaging way? True, true, true. Brilliant. I love these, and they are even better than is there a possibility of life out of space, out space? Nice, nice. See, this is what we're talking about. Taking it, one level up, having the children become like this is really intriguing. Like, is there life outside, and outer space? Definitely, students will want to know more and inquire instead of me telling them, okay, today we're going to learn about planets. When we're done, I want you to make a model of the planets. Definitely, you can judge which one is more intriguing and which one is more engaging for the students. Okay, so these are the answers. Um, and definitely you guys have presented way better answers. And if we can work on the driving questions. Sometimes it doesn't have to be, like teacher talk. It could be their level, just the way exactly you guys did in the responses. Now, I want you to take the first one and I want you to prepare an answer. What can students do? What comes to mind as an inquiry? Some of you just started answering that before we just a while ago. What can students do within this PBL, within this project-based learning? I want us to take one question, all of us together, so that we see the answers. Now, don't answer now. Type your answer, and when I say enter, we're using the chat rain response. It will start raining, and all of the answers will come together. So prepare your answer. When I say three, you're going to press enter, and you're going to send them to me. Okay? Now, wait. So number one, we're trying to think what can students do within this project-based learning. If we're talking about how do we protect endangered animals and inspire others to take action, what comes to mind? What inquiry can they do? How can they go about exploring this? What comes to mind? A guest speaker, a field trip, any of the ideas you guys think they can do. I want you to think about it, type it, and now when I say three, you press enter. Ready? Send me a thumbs up if you're ready. Ready? Okay, one, two, three. Send me these answers. Visit a zoo, research animals, field trips, interview with an expert, stop hunting and make a plan, create a reforestation plan, I mean. Design exploration journey, nice. Design a poster, make a trip, generate awareness videos, zoo trip. Oh, I love this. See, all of these ideas. Now, all of this will feed into how we will use differentiation, use public transport, write a children's book, do some research, visit a natural reserve, design a model. Okay, see, so all of these ideas, record a 1 minute podcast. I love it. Generate videos or ebooks. Teach some related vocab. Definitely, of course, this comes within scaffolding. Make a song. Okay, so here is the point. This is why PBL definitely lends itself to differentiation. See, all of these ideas, definitely, as students also, they will think of all of these ideas, and each one will relate it to his own level, his own competence, his own exposure, his own ability, his own learning difficulty. And here, definitely, when we're talking about differentiation, we are not talking about only the students that have special needs or that have learning challenges. Like we us, all of us now, we are different in interest, in choice, in ideas, in exposure, in competence, what we can do, what we can't do. So when I think of differentiation, I have to think big of all of these ideas. Brilliant, brilliant, you guys. Okay, now let's zoom in because we have to explore how does this work if I don't, let's say, have a student-centered school, or I don't work in an inquiry-based school or in a STEAM school. Even if you work at any, let's say, traditional school, you can still do project-based learning. This is an example of the endangered animal example we talked about. I'm going to zoom in. So this is the key question. How can we research to protect endangered animals and inspire others to take action? Look at the standards. You can put all of the standards, bringing these standards together that might be tackled in this PBL. In science, I can do ecosystems, adaptation, biodiversity. In math, I can do data, I can do graphs. In English, I can do research process, informational writing, persuasive speaking. In media literacy, part of being digital citizenships, I can do evaluating sources, credibility, let's say referencing. I can do all of that. And student-centered opportunities, you guys mentioned way even more. This is some of them, like they can be talking about choosing different animals, creating infographic, podcasts, writing letters to organizations, hosting a school, conservation fair. Also, they can connect or partner with local zoos. Students, they can campaign, adopt an animal, don't buy an animal. So all of this. So I want you to leave with a practical example. This is how you can break it down when you plan it as a teacher in order to bring this into your classroom. No matter which curriculum you use or you follow, we all have outcomes, just have a look at the outcomes, see what can you bring together, put this key question, and then all will follow. All right? Okay. Now, in the chat again, I'd like you to tell me, how do you like your coffee? Send me in the chat, how do you like your coffee? Let's see. I'm sure everyone loves coffee, so this is something we will agree on. With milk and sugar, strong, dark, no sugar, hot. Arabian, without sugar, at home, cappuccino, hot. Okay, strong, without sugar. Okay, dark, no sugar. Okay, all right. I don't like it. I love this, we'll come back to it. With a splash of milk, iced coffee, you like it cold. Okay, now I like coffee that is decaf, that is sweet, and that is with whole milk. Imagine if I want to impose that all of you should drink this type of coffee. How would you feel? How would that feel? And also ignoring anyone who has maybe lactose intolerance or I don't know, any kind of allergies. I'm just imposing that you guys are going to drink this kind of coffee because I like it. You don't like it, you will not take it. Definitely. This is with all simplicity, this is differentiation. This is me looking at the different students, different interests, different choices, different abilities, and also respecting that. So differentiation, again, it's a teaching method that all goes, that adjusts content, product, process, and the learning environment in order to cater to all of the students at need. Okay, content, this is how I adjust what. A process is I adjust how do they get to the learning. Product is the end result. What are they going to create? And the learning environment, how I'm going to facilitate. So I wanted to give you this coffee example so that you keep it in mind. Imposing one way of learning for all students without respecting the differences, without looking at diversity, without tackling whatever struggles or needs or challenges they have. This is not the way to go. Differentiation caters for all of that. Okay, so, and it's also, it means changing one or more of these categories. I can either change the content, the process, the product, and the learning environment. Now, here, it does not mean that I have to create a different lesson plan for every learner. And also, it does not mean I have to, tone down the thinking or the challenge. No, also, students with the different challenges we're talking about, all of them need to think in order to learn. Differentiation is not taking away the thinking, but it's removing whatever is in the way of the thinking to happen. So this is the most important thing we need to think to keep in mind. This way, and after, I'm sure now you can make the connection. We've talked about the project-based learning, and with the explanation, with your contributions, we have already mentioned a lot of different ways of differentiating either the content, the process, or the product, and so that we can cater to the needs of all of the students, not only those who have special needs. And here I have listed some examples as well. In the content, I can be, delivering the content either through a video, through a text, through an article, through a different visual or a graph. For the process, I can have them, I can pair those who have difficulties. I can scaffold for some. I can give some graphic organizers for some of them. I can give some sentence starters. I can group them differently. I can use stations or mini lessons at centers as they go around. So if this comes part of my natural teaching, then by default, I'm catering to all of the students I have in the classroom. Also, attending to the learning environment is very important. Flexible seating, the routines, the expectations, creating the safe environment, and all of that. All of these come together in order for me to support my differentiation in the classroom. And here are some examples on what does this mean in action if I'm doing the project-based learning. So, for the content, definitely I have to have a key question that holds many entries. I can make some lists of what they should or can or might do, some learning playlists or choice boards. I put some examples in the Padlet as well. I can put some mini lessons, some leveled readers. For process, I can have them work in centers. I can have if those who are they can't work with the complex, task. I can break it down. I can have some checkpoints. I can assign roles in the group. You are a writer. You are reader. You are fact checker. You are the time detective. I can have conferencing one-on-one with the students whenever I feel the need to. I can have journals or reflections. I can also differentiate through the formative assessment. Some of them can show me their understanding through, a video. Some of them can say it orally. Some of them can do a pen and pencil exam. So I am keeping the choice all of the time. Also for the product, as we mentioned, I can have them, choose however they want to solve this problem and show me at the end. That's great because I want them. I'm not changing the outcome. I'm not lowering down the thinking. I'm just giving them choice to show me their understanding in a different way. Also with the learning environment, maybe bringing in some tech ideas, visual schedules, being, a facilitator all the time and all of that. You can take a screenshot if you want of this. So these are, the scaffolding strategies that come down to the operations when I'm doing the project-based learning and merging them in all of these categories for the differentiation. So bringing it all together, this is a recap. I prepared it for you also on AI so that just you keep it together. So all of these, it means all of the strategies, they come in handy. However, I'm differentiating either by content or product or process or learning environment. I don't have to do all of these categories all the time. Definitely not. Whatever works for your students and also to be able to support them. But this just reinforces how PBL as a teaching approach really emphasizes the voice, the choice, the path of how students will get to the learning outcome. As I said, I'm not changing the outcome, but how they get there, this is the journey I'm supporting or I'm scaffolding. Okay, you can also take
Excellent.
a screenshot of this.
They are asking to share the slides as you promised at the beginning of the
I'm gonna put,
session,
yeah,
Ms.
the link,
Duha.
the Padlet.
Maybe
Yes.
you can, yes. Maybe
Yes,
you
I will put
can
the Padlet,
share a
definitely.
Padlet link. That
Yes.
was
I'm going to
amazing.
put the Padlet link, and on the Padlet, I want you to think of what will you stop, what will you start, and what will you continue based on this learning in your classroom, so that you can start steering PBL or differentiation differently, and also keeping in mind, as we said with PBL, also the same with differentiation. I don't plan my lesson and then add differentiation. No, it doesn't work this way. I design around it. I build around it within the essay.
Excellent, excellent,
Okay, so
excellent,
as
Ms.
I
Duha.
want to leave you with the quote, giving students something to do, not something to learn. The doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking, learning naturally results. I'm going to share the Padlet. Again, this is my page. If you have any questions, you can DM me. Let me put the Padlet link for you to keep it as a reference.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Duha. Thank you. It was an insightful session. Um, Ms. Duha, are you
Yes.
still with us? Yeah,
Uh,
your perspectives actually on differentiation and maybe universal design for learning have given us much to reflect on as we continue working forward more inclusive and effective English language teaching practices. We will now move to the Q&A session. I
yeah.
would like to invite participants to continue posting their questions and comments in the chat box, please, and we will address as many of them as time allows. I'll go to question and answers.
Yes, I'm glad the Padlet is open. Um, so on the
Okay,
Padlet, you will see articles, you will see video examples, and you will see also scaffolding examples. And there's a tiny box for feedback if you can write feedback whenever you you are free also. It would be
that's
great.
great. Let me check the
Thank
questions.
you, Duha and Nagam. The session will be remaining 1 minute just.
Yeah, okay, then we have maybe
One
a
question, go
time
ahead.
for one
One
question.
question, yeah.
So one of the teachers asked, could I give the students their voice and choice and how they learn and assess the same learning outcomes simultaneously? Ms. Duha, what do you
Yes,
think?
definitely. They already have voice and choice. You just need to empower it. You need to make room for them to take some decisions about the learning. And definitely you can assess it. You can put, some peer assessment and observe. You can go around with a rubric, hear how their conversation or ask them questions or conference one-on-one, and you plot them on the rubric. Definitely giving choice and voice does not contradict with assessing. You can have them like do a formative assessment, have them present while you are also taking notes. This is also assessment. So definitely you do
Excellent,
that.
excellent. Thank you for your session. It was really
Thank you all. Thank
excellent
you.
one. And at the end, I would also like to thank our audience for your active participation and thoughtful engagement throughout the session. We hope today's discussion inspires new ideas, meaningful conversations, and continued collaboration among educators and professionals in our field. On behalf of the Queen Rania Teacher Academy and Georgia State University, thank you for being part of the fourth annual English Language Conference 2026. We look forward to seeing you in the next session, and we wish you a productive and inspiring conference experience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nagam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Queen Rania Teacher Academy.